What is going on, PokeMoshPit? This is Chimpact bringing you guys an OU battle that I had against Rchizzle9 on Pokemon Showdown. If you guys don't know what Pokemon Showdown is, I'll leave a link in the description. And we were both testing out our teams. My team is pretty offensive with 2 priority users in Scizor and Mamoswine, the 2 new Genie forms of Tornadus and Thundurus, and then I just splashed in 2 water types, Politoed and Tentacruel. Tentacruel is pretty helpful because it rapid spins away the hazards that Tornadus and Thundurus don't like. And his team is pretty defensive, with Amoonguss, Gastrodon, and Fortress to take some hits, but fortunately for me, Tornadus' Hurricane does deal quite a bit of damage to those 3 Pokemon. He does have 2 threats in Keldeo and Thundurus, and a 3rd threat could be Politoed if it's Scarfed. Anyways, let's just start the battle. I'm going to lead out with my Tornadus as he leads out with his Thundurus. I'm going to have to switch out, thinking that he's going to go for the HP Ice. I'm going to switch out to my Mamoswine because I do have the Thick Fat, lowering the power of Ice moves, but he switches out into his Politoed. Fearing the Water move, I'm going to have to switch out into my own Tentacruel as he does go for the Scald, and despite the crit, I am able to take that Scald really well, and I'm able to freely fire off another Scald on him. And the only thing that he really has to take a Scald is his Gastrodon, because the burn from Scald is really not fun to take. But he goes down to his Thundurus to try to take the Scald, and it doesn't take that well thanks to his own rain boosting the power of my Scald. And I'm going to switch out to my Thundurus because I thought that he would go for the Grass Knot or the Focus Blast, because I did switch out to my Mamoswine last time. And I'm just going to go for the HP Ice, thinking that he wants to risk the Speed Tie since he is at a lower amount of HP than I am. But he switches out into his Gastrodon as I do go for the Grass Knot. I just wanted to deal some damage, and I knew that a Scald or an Ice Beam would not be able to one-hit my Thundurus regardless. And right here I could have gone for the Nasty Plot, but I just wanted to ensure that I finished off his Gastrodon because that was a pretty annoying Pokemon on his team. But he switches out and goes out into his Amoonguss. And now he still has the immunity to the water move, so I have to definitely watch out for that. I'm fearing the Amoonguss to go for the Spore, so that's why I switch out to my Tentacruel. I definitely don't want my Thundurus snoozing. And he's actually going to switch out and go out into his Fortress, as I do go for the Ice Beam, trying to deal some damage to his Gastrodon if he does want to switch that in. And Ice Beam would have done more damage than Scald to Amoonguss anyway. So he's actually going to switch again into his Gastrodon, and that's going to be unfortunate for me, because I do give him the boost with the Storm Drain, as well as a free switch into his Gastrodon. Ice Beam is not going to be able to finish him off at 42%, so that's the reason why I switch out, because he's just going to go for the Recover and deal some major damage with the Earthquake to me anyway. So I switch out to my Tornadus because I want to deal some good damage to it, as he goes for the Scald, and that deals a good chunk of damage. The reason why I switched out to my Tornadus instead of my Thundurus was because Tornadus handles Scalds better, because it does not really mind the burn that much because it does have Regenerator, while Thundurus definitely wants to stay in a lot. So I'm going to go for the U-turn, switch out to Mamoswine, go for the Stealth Rock as he brings out his Politoed to take the potential Ice Shard, but I went for the Stealth Rock. And then I go back out to my Tentacruel to take the Scald. Unfortunately, he does get the burn, and sorry for the little hiccup in the video. I wasn't able to record the middle. And now I'm going to switch out, go out into my Thundurus, because I thought that he would want to switch out to his Gastrodon, but he goes out to his Amoonguss, and that is going to be pretty unfortunate for me, because he still has yet to put a Pokemon to sleep. So I'm going to switch out into my Scizor, because maybe he wanted to go for another Giga Drain, but he goes out, and he goes for the Spore anyway. So now I'm going to switch out, knowing that his Amoonguss can't do anything to my Scizor, and I thought that he would go out to his Keldeo to try to set up on it. But he goes on to his Politoed. Good move on his part, knowing that I would probably want to go on to a Tornadus. And he's just going to go for the Protect just to... I have no idea why he wants to go for the Protect. It's just wasting my time. Maybe he just wants that extra 6%, so next time he switches into Stealth Rock, he is at full again. Or he would be at 87. So I'm going to U-turn out, heal a little bit more HP with the Regenerator, and switch out into my Tentacruel. And I really am a little upset about this burn that he did get on my Tentacruel, even though he was eventually going to get it, because it is 30%. It's not really the 10% that you get from Thunderbolt and stuff like that. I'm going to go for a Scald, and not going to get the burn. Can't really complain about it since it is 30%. It's not guaranteed. And he is sitting at a healthy amount of HP, so I really am annoyed by this Politoed. So now I'm going to switch out to my own Politoed. I really should have done this from the beginning, because Tentacruel is going to be a lot more important in the game anyway. So he's going to be able to burn my Politoed anyway, and that's going to be pretty unfortunate for me. And right here I'm actually going to double switch into my Thundurus, because I thought that he would want to go for the Protect, and I would be able to get a free switch into my Thundurus as he does go for the Protect. But he switches out into Amoonguss, and that's not really that big of a deal because I do have my Stealth Rocks up, so I'm able to apply some pressure to his team with the Stealth Rock and the fact that I have Tornadus, a really big threat on the team. I mean, on my team. And he's actually going to go for the End Power, as I thought that he would want to switch out into his Fortress right there to take the HP Ice, but that was kind of a foolish move on my part. And now I'm just going to go for the HP Ice as he does switch out into his Fortress. That was definitely a bad move on his part because Fortress is definitely going to take some damage. He takes about 25% damage from his Fortress, and that definitely puts him into range where I think a Thunderbolt will be able to take him out anyway. So I do go for the Thunderbolt right here. I guess he just wanted Regenerator HP, but that was still a questionable play. And I am still healing damage or HP from the damage that he did with the Hidden Power Ice, so he really could have just put pressure on me to hit him with more and more moves. So now an HP Ice will be able to 2-way KO Amoonguss, but Nasty Plot boosted HP Ice will still be able to take him out. So that's the reason why I do go for the Nasty Plot over another HP Ice. Since he does have the Regenerator, I thought that it would definitely be a better play just to deal some bigger damage to him, as he does switch out into his Thundurus as Death Fodder. And luckily for me, I'm finally able to take out one of his Pokemon, and that was definitely one of his bigger threats on his team. And now he's going to go on to his Keldeo. I really don't want to stay in, so I'm going to switch out, and I'm going to go out into my Politoed, as he does go for the Hydro Pump. I'm able to take that pretty well. I'm actually surprised I took that well, since I don't have much special defense investment. And I'm just going to go for the Parasong since I am burned, and the fact that Keldeo would probably want to set up on a burned Politoed, since Politoed really can't do much to Keldeo anyway. And I'm able to get up a Parasong on him, and this is pretty good because I do have the Tentacruel to essentially take on the Keldeo pretty well. So I'm just going to go for Protect just to stall out some Parasong turns, as he does go for the Secret Sword. And I'm just going to Protect another turn just so I can have a free switch into whatever I want, and maybe even go for another Scald if I want to just Death Fodder my Politoed to Parasong. And unfortunately for me, it does not work, and he's able to go for a Hydro Pump, connect with it, and take me out. So he's up 2 Hydro Pumps, so there's also still the possibility of me PP stalling his Hydro Pumps, because he needs Hydro Pumps to hit my Tornadus as well as my Thundurus, as well as my Mamoswine, but my Mamoswine not so much, since he does still have the Secret Sword to hit me with super effective. So I know that he wants to switch out, but I'm not 100% sure if he does want to switch out, so I went for the U-turn over the Hurricane, because he might want to Death Fodder his Keldeo just to take out my Tornadus with the Hydro Pump. And I'm going to U-turn out into my Thundurus, because I want to get up a little bit more recovery with leftovers, as I do go for the Gastrodon as I U-turn out on his Gastrodon. And now he has his Amoonguss. I'm going to switch out, and I'm going to go out into my Mamoswine, because I expected him to go for the HP Ice. And now I'm able to go for an Earthquake and essentially take out any one of his Pokemon on his team, since I do have Stealth Rocks up. And with the prior damage that I did deal to his Fortress with the HP Ice from my Thundurus, it will definitely be 2-way KO'd by Stealth Rock and Earthquake. So now I'm going to just finish off his Politoed with an Earthquake, but he wants to Protect stall me with Protect, because he obviously needs that extra 6% leftovers recovery to take the hit from another Earthquake, but that's not the case, and I'm able to take out that small threat in his Politoed. No more Scald Burns for him, but he has an even bigger threat in his Keldeo, and I'm forced to stay in because I don't want to switch out and have him have a substitute on the switch. So that's the reason why I do go for the Earthquake right here and essentially Death Fodder my Mamoswine. And now that my Mamoswine is dead, I do have a free switch into my Tornadus, which will essentially be able to pick off the rest of his team with Hurricanes. Because, like I said in the beginning, he doesn't have anything to really take a Hurricane if his Pokemon aren't at max HP. So his Gastrodon is dead, thanks to that extra little bit of damage that I did deal earlier in the game. And now he has Amoonguss. Amoonguss, if it's max HP and max special defense, can live a Hurricane. It has a really low chance to live a Hurricane, but it can live a Hurricane. So that's the reason why I did go for the U-turn, so that he wouldn't be able to stun spore me if I did go for Hurricane and miss out on the KO. So I'm going to switch out or U-turn out into my Tentacruel to take whatever hit he wants to go for. I went for the HP Ice, I'm able to take that really well. And I'm just going to start firing off Scalds because I want to try to burn this Amoonguss or try to burn something on the switch like his Keldeo. And I will only have essentially one chance to burn his Keldeo, but it's still a 30% chance. It's not really like the 10% chance that you get from Thunderbolt. And I'm not going to get the burn on the Amoonguss right there. If I did get the burn on the Amoonguss, I would immediately double switch out into my Thundurus, because Thundurus is essentially, or Amoonguss is essentially walling my Thundurus, and if I got the burn, it wouldn't really be walling me anymore. So luckily for me, I do get the burn on his Keldeo, and that's going to be fantastic because he's no longer going to be able to go for a substitute because he is burned, and taking that extra burn damage with a substitute is definitely not a good look. And I would definitely be able to essentially stall him out with a Tentacruel even, because he would be taking 25% from the substitute and 6% per turn from the burn. So now I'm just going to stay in with my Tentacruel and just wait out his Keldeo for him to essentially kill himself off, but he doesn't. And now I'm forced to go out into my Tornadus. He did use a few more Hydro Pumps, so I'll definitely be using that to my advantage if it does come to that, but I doubt it will. So now I'm just going to go for Hurricanes as he does switch out into his Fortress. That's definitely not going to live a Hurricane, and easy 1 KO or whatever KO. That was definitely not a 1 KO because he had some prior damage, and I'm just going to go for a Hurricane right here. Because I do have my Scizor asleep just in case I need to go for a quick attack. He could definitely miss the Hydro Pump on it, and the burn damage is definitely going to finish off his Keldeo anyway, so there's really nothing for me to worry about. And luckily for me, I don't get like absolute minimum damage on his Amoonguss, and I'm able to take it out. And all he has left is his Keldeo, and I'm able to take that out with a Hurricane as well. So that was definitely a fun game, Rchizzle9. If you guys did enjoy this narration, feel free to check me out, as well as Rchizzle9. He's definitely a great narrator, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.